I'm Rob with K2. I'm at Tahoe Mountain Sports, and I'm really excited to talk to you about the new ski boot from K2. This is called the Pinnacle 130, and this is the brand new Freeride boot from K2 Skis. We basically wanted to create a Freeride boot, something that worked really well inbounds, and it also had a great range of motion for touring in the backcountry. And that's where the Pinnacle series comes in. Basically, there's a bunch of key technology stories that we like to talk about with this boot. First of all, though, we set out to create the first all-mountain boot. When you think about boots over the last 20 or 30 years, they're generally trickle-down race technology. Race in general is done on a prepared course. It's pretty consistent from top to bottom. And when you think about it, all-mountain skiing is not like that. The forces are different and the terrain is constantly changing. So the first thing that we did is we incorporated what we call the spine technology. And the spine is this piece that joins the upper cuff and the lower shell of the boot. And when you think about kind of a traditional boot, they basically have always had two rivets that join the upper and the lower together. And two rivets kind of present a blocky flex, I think of shin bang. And what we set out to do with the spine is a couple of things, but the first and most important was create a slightly lower hinging point that created a more natural flex that responded better to all mountain skiing forces. And that also kind of gave us an opportunity to use the second bit of technology, which is this piece right here, and this is called the Synchro Interlock. The Synchro Interlock is basically a coupling that joins this piece of the spine on the upper cuff and this piece of the spine on the lower shell. And that's not only what gives us that fantastic range of motion, or flex pattern rather, when you're skiing down the hill, but when you unlock this device, the Synchro Interlock, it basically unlocks that mechanism, that joining that I was talking about, and it allows this boot to have fantastic, arguably best-in-class range of motion, which is really important when you're trying to get to the top of a backcountry climb or even walking across the parking lot. The third key bit of technology with this boot is what we call the Fit Logic liner. In this case, this is the Precision Fit liner. We've worked very closely with Intuition for more than 10 years. And Intuition is arguably the best foam on the market. It's very pure, so it holds its loft longer, it's lighter, and it's warmer. So with this liner, we have a power wrap collar that helps transmit power into the turn, but then we have full Intuition that goes all the way through the toe box, and it's in an asymmetrical tongue. So the boot is already competitively priced, but when you think about it, it also comes with a fully customizable heat moldable liner. It's really fantastic. It's not a small piece. There's a couple other things that are super important to point out with this boot. Let's start with what we call a power buckle. It's basically a power strap that has a buckle on it, and that's huge for a couple of reasons. One is you don't have to reach down and undo that Velcro strap, so it stays tighter longer. And because it's on a buckle, you basically can release that pressure very easily. So when you're going into touring mode or you're going into walking mode, you simply just reach down through your pants and you can flip this forward. You don't have to pull up the gaiter and undo the strap. Another thing, I could talk for a long time about this, but it's a very accommodating last. The boot is exceptionally comfortable, and one detail that's important to point out is right here. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but there's a Navicular Punch that's built right into the shell, and most boot fitters will tell you this is one of the most common places to make a punch. So it's an extra accommodating fit. The Navicular is a bone in your foot, and it sits on the medial side of your foot. And basically you can see right here in this video that we have a dimple or a punch that's already built into the shell. This is something that people commonly have done with boots, and with the Pinnacle last, you don't need to have it done because it's already punched out. Last and arguably most important are the soles on this boot. These are what we call DIN and Tech compatible soles. So you can use any alpine binding that you want. You could use a Marker Jester, you could use a Marker Duke, you could use any alpine binding, but you can also use a Dynafit binding. If you can see up here, there's dimples where the Dynafit binding interfaces. We work closely with Dynafit throughout the development of this product, and we have, in-molded metal toe bars, that reinforce this the sole plate, if you would. And what's important to point out is our competition is kind of divided into two categories. Suffice it to say that basically they allow you to buy an extra set of soles that you then have to purchase, and then you have to spend the time to take them out and put them back in. So this is a really bomber interface. So again, this is the Pinnacle 130. There's two lasts. There's a 97 last and a 100 last. And there's also a Pinnacle 110. And it's our boot that's designed to work well inbounds and work really well out of bounds. For more information on the Pinnacle 130, go to TahoeMountainSports.com.